Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Now, I wanted to do a video talking about why we don't need to put on a brave face when we have a one-to-one call, when we join a webinar. Okay, we have to be totally honest with ourselves and with the coach. Okay, the reason being is because we often pretend that we're doing much better than we are. We often put on that brave face. We almost think how many false dawns there are with OCD. Think how many times where in the build up to the call, it's like, I don't even have OCD. No, you doubt that you've even got OCD because maybe you're having a good couple of days. That happened a lot with me. So when I'd book the call, I'd be really suffering, really struggling. And then towards the build up of the call, it'd feel like, oh no, it's all gone. And OCD is very crafty like that. It can do that. It can mimic any symptom. It can mimic any feeling. It's very important to remember. So when you're on a call, you don't have to pretend or almost try and prove to us that how well you're doing. The whole point of us being there, the whole point of us coaching you is to help you to get better for long-term recovery. Okay? And when you've got to be really honest, because people don't like doing this, because you look at yourself in the mirror and you're seeing where you're going wrong. You're admitting the flaws, you're admitting the compulsions or the beliefs or the behaviours still holding you back. And that takes a lot of courage to do that. Because it's very easy to just, I speak to a lot of people and they go, no, that isn't going to work. But rather than listening to the advice being said, it's more they're just so stuck in their belief and they can't see how any other way is going to help them. Because it's almost like they're comparing themselves to you or proving themselves to me that how well they're doing. But my aim and my job and our aim on the team is to get you better from OCD. That's what we'd love to do. That's our passion. Okay, so you don't have to then pretend that you are. Okay, and people say to me, yeah, but Sam, I don't want to confess. I don't want to ask for reassurance. I don't want to vent. Now, let me tell you, if you're asking for reassurance, if you're venting, if you're confessing, we will tell you that. If someone asks me for reassurance, I quite often go silent, because I know if I answer that question, you might get 5 minutes, an hour of temporary relief, but long term is going to provide no good. It's going to make you even worse, in fact, because you're then going to be going down the rabbit hole of reassurance, chasing from one relief to the other, trying to get rid of any unwanted feeling, and that's not going to work. So we have to be very honest with ourselves, very honest with the coach, okay, whoever it may be on the team, because that is where progress is going to be made, when we admit where we're going wrong, when we're open about where we're going wrong, okay? That is when change happens. It all links back into my previous points in other videos saying, see mistakes, see weaknesses, see where you're going wrong as a positive, right? Because it's an opportunity to change. It's a chance to get better, okay? It's highlighting to you where you're going wrong, right? How great is that? Because long term, you can then change that behavior. You can look back and reflect on what behaviors aren't helping, what beliefs aren't helping, how your black and white thinking, your rigid thinking is holding you back, and looking to change that. Okay, that is so important. As soon as you shut the door on looking at where you're going wrong, as soon as you're reluctant to see what kind of beliefs are going wrong, when you don't want to self-reflect, that shuts the door on any progress, because you then just settle for how you are. You then don't want to change. You become very stubborn. You become very sort of defensive. And I deal with this a lot, because it's almost like they take it as an attack at where I'm pointing out where they're going wrong. And that, no, I'm not going wrong there. And I'm going, well, the reason you're feeling chronically guilty, the reason you're feeling anxious and panicking and going from setback to setback is for that exact belief. And they say, well, no, but that compulsion's keeping me safe. That belief I don't want to change because, I've believed that all my life. And I go, well, yes, I know you have, but that is exactly why we're on this call. That's exactly why you're very panicked, why you're triggered, why you're feeling chronically guilty. Okay, so it's being open to listen to what we're saying, to the advice. Okay, you don't have to take any advice on board. You don't have to, but when you think of what's really holding you back, you've got to be totally honest and thinking, is the advice going to help me? Well, yes. Okay, when people put on a brave face, when you think about it, because I had this a lot, right? So I book a call, And then it would feel like I don't have OCD within a matter of seconds. OCD can do that, okay? It can feel like, yeah, what's the point? Because quite often after my call, or after even cancelling the call, I then have one of my worst days ever, okay? So he's going to do that, okay? He's going to move around, he's going to morph. You're going to go from one really good day to a really bad day. It's an emotional roller coaster, as we all know. Okay, so becoming aware of the nuances, the tricks, all the different intricacies of OCD suffering, you then become aware of where you're going wrong, okay? People are so reluctant to change, and it links back to the Albert Ellis quote that I quote a lot in calls and social media and webinars, is people get an insight into what's bothering them, but don't do a damn thing to change, okay? And that's the biggest frustration to see, because it's clear as day to us as what's bothering you. You know, we've been there. We've all been to rock bottom of OCD. None of us on the team have just had mild OCD, where it's like just sorts of thoughts, yeah, don't worry about it, and moved on. It's not that. We've all been depressed, crying down the phone. In my first call, Rob couldn't hear me through the tears. I was, it took ages to get my point out because I couldn't stop crying, or I was very mumbling, very sort of low tone, very quiet voice. That's what I was like. Okay, I nearly fell over. Nick's mental hospital. Mom and housebound. I was housebound. We haven't been, it's not like we just haven't been to the edge and back. We've been to rock bottom of OCD, so we can see what is really holding you back. We're not just having a guess and then pointing out, oh yeah, that might work. We've applied these tools to ourselves, okay? And the point is, you don't have to then come on a call and pretend or compare your journey, okay? You don't have to think, oh yeah, I'm so desperate to be where you are that I'm going to pretend that everything's okay. No, that's not going to work. I know you might get a nice feeling out of that, or it might feel good to feel like that, but let's be totally honest, okay? This is coming from a point of unconditional acceptance. We accept ourselves even with falling back, even with a setback, even with our flaws, okay? It's not like some race. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm better than you because I've recovered from OCD. Not at all. I don't think like that at all, because I've been there. I've been to rock bottom. I don't rate myself on how well I am doing with OCD. Not at all. Okay, that's all part of unconditional self-acceptance. Accepting yourself when you slip back, accepting yourself even when you're doing compulsions, accepting yourself even when you have a setback, even when you're doing behaviours that you know ain't helping you. Okay, that's all part of the compassion and the unconditional acceptance. That's not to say you can't change. Of course it is. If you know that behaviour isn't helping, of course you aim to change that behaviour. But not beating yourself over the head, not being some drill sergeant, overly strict, where you're completely writing yourself off, you're completely damning yourself or downing yourself because you've messed up, okay? We have to look at ourselves in the mirror and go, right, where am I going wrong? That behaviour isn't helping. That behaviour is going to be difficult to change, but where is it going to get me long term? You've got to think where you're going to be in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, okay? That is when change is going to be made. Don't then refuse to cut the compulsion or refuse to change your belief because you're going to feel shit in the short term. You are, okay? If I told you it was all going to be rosy and easy, I'd be lying to you, okay? Changing behaviours, cutting compulsions, stopping avoidance, changing beliefs, adopting new perspectives, applying unconditional acceptance isn't a walk in the park. We haven't just read one book on Albert Ellis and then we're all sorted, okay? OCD is very stubborn. It's very resilient. It doesn't just back down after reading one book. It doesn't just have one one-to-one call, one webinar, and then it's gone, never mentioned again. It doesn't work like that. Severe chronic OCD takes a lot more to get under a deeper level of acceptance. And it's another reason why thoughts are thoughts, although it's an important part to the journey, it isn't everything. Okay, same as exposures. They're not the gold standard. They're very important. They only get you so far though. Okay, exposures was a big ingredient in my recovery. So were thoughts of thoughts, not engaging with the thought, not trying to neutralise the thought, not trying to run away from the thought. That's all very important, changing our relationship with that and pushing ourselves to exposures. But I wouldn't be able to get under chronic, severe, false memory, relevant OCD, POCD, harm OCD with just saying thoughts of thoughts, because OCD is so OCD is so latched on where it feels totally real, where you can't tell the difference between whether it's real or not. You're going to feel like the exception. You're going to feel treatment resistant. You're going to feel like yours is convincingly and utterly real, okay? If you're convinced you've done something wrong in the past, for example, with relevant false memory OCD, if you just came on a call and I said, yeah, thoughts are thoughts, mate, don't worry about it, yeah, Sam, do that one exposure, all good, thank you very much. Ain't gonna work. Isn't gonna work at all. Okay, and we have to be totally honest with where rigid black and white thinking isn't helping. And this is why we're here to help you, we're here to guide you through that. And this is why you have to be totally transparent and honest to see where you're going wrong, knowing that that belief isn't helping you, okay, and doing the best to change that, okay. But it's not being some really strict drill sergeant with yourself. It's not being some really overly strict teacher and you mess up, oh, waste of time, giving up on you. Not at all, okay? We've all had setbacks. We've all slipped up. I had slip-ups many, many times. You only got to ask Rob how many times I had a setback. Okay, oh, I'm getting somewhere, glimpse of freedom, then boom, slapped in the face. Feels like I'm back to square one. Feels like I've made no progress. What is the point? Okay, I had that all the time. But persistence, consistency, patience, along with lots of other things, of all the ingredients for long-term OCD recovery and freedom, okay? I'm going to end this video with the bottom line. You do not need to put on a brave face to us. You don't have to pretend you're doing better than you are. You don't have to fake how well you're doing, okay? Sounds like a very harsh message, but it's very, very true, because as soon as you do that, you are then stopping the door to any further progress. You have to be totally honest and say, Sam, I'm doing good. I am doing good, but this is bothering me. This is still niggling away. This is still holding me back. We have to view that, okay? And this is why people coast, because they settle for what they've got. Understandable, because when you've been at rock bottom, when you've been unable to function with OCD, it's understandable why people just settle for being able to function and going back to work. Huge parts, huge steps, excellent stuff, but there is so much more to that. There is so much more to recovery than just setback, going from setback to setback, trigger to trigger, and just putting up with it, just settling for it, okay? No, recovery is much, much more than that. And think of the tools that you learn in life as well. This isn't just, we're not just doing this to get over one theme and that's it. It's for tools in life. Any adversity, anything that goes wrong, any happening in life that's a pain in the ass. I call them just pain in the ass moments, okay? And that can vary from anything, just to a loss of job, to a loss of a family member, okay? Or just from something going wrong in the day, or just messing up your plans in the day, to a really big event like loss of a family member, okay? So it's just a big pain in the ass, and we always got to think, how do I deal with it, okay? Pretending that everything's okay isn't going to help. Pretending that everything's all sweet and rosy isn't going to help. We've got to go right into the eye of the storm, jump into the fire, look at the problem, identify the problem, identify the core fear, and then look to change that, okay? It's that mindset of robust recovery, okay? I don't see anything wrong, any mistake, any weakness as a negative. Yes, it can be frustrating and I can regret something, but I'm always looking to overcome, and it's getting into that mindset. I wouldn't have been able to get to that mindset if I pretended I was doing really well, if I, faked everything. If I said, no, I'm doing really good, yeah, I'm recovered, and I'm going from setback to setback. No, I wouldn't be able to get to that. I had to be totally honest with myself and with my coach and say, look, this is where I'm going wrong. How do I overcome this? That is so, so important.